So, Kevin, thank you so much on behalf of SETSI for participating in our community of practice page on YouTube. As a leader, I'm sure of your practice and of your community, on behalf of SETSI, we thank you for today.
It's good to be here.
Amazing. So, as always, we begin by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands that we are on. We also acknowledge our ancestors. We acknowledge all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all the elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, learn for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So, if you can please do us the honors by introducing yourself to our listeners and viewers and tell us about your remarkable work.
Okay, so my name is Kevin Holmes, and I started a social innovation lab at Algonquin College in Ottawa. And it really started as social infrastructure for the community. We focus mainly on the digital divide and technology in the public good. And we run a program called Slide, which allows community organizations and nonprofits and charities to request our assistance in technology, really in anything. And then we have students undertake that work. So I think at a high level, our vision is like there's all these amazing social innovators in our communities. And we think digital technologies can help them accelerate fairer, safer, healthier, and more connected communities. So that's sort of our big mission.
I love that, the digital divide, and there's definitely, some of that going on, so it's good that you're targeting that for sure. Very good. And can you articulate your personal mission and vision for us, and like what inspires you about your work too?
For me, it's all a community. I've always sort of been, I call myself the community guy. I'm the community guy. People in the community phone me and ask me, can I help with something? And I'm always, yeah, even if I can't, I'm always, yes, let me try to find people who can help you. So I sort of think of myself as a connector between community needs and all this amazing talent we have in our school. So we have it's a big college, a lot of students, amazing talents, I think for me it's about channeling them into those organizations and communities that make our cities better places. People who keep us safe and keep us fed and keep, women safe and keep roofs over people's heads. Those organizations are so great, and they do such important things in our community. But I really want like more and more of our students to get the opportunity to see that and to experience it, because I think it changes them in a good way. And well, I actually know now that it changes them in a good way.
That's it. That's so good. And we know they are the future. So exposing them to this too is so on time. We're
Yeah.
dealing with AI, we're doing chat GPT. They're getting used to that. Like that's the common lingo now. So introducing them to that space is right on. Very good. And so what challenges or barriers have you faced, and how have you worked to overcome them?
Oh, well, the overcoming part's a little hard. I'll say, like, the challenges and barriers, I sort of have like three that are on my list right now. Always money. There's always money, and sustained money, and money of value that makes some sense, to be able to do meaningful things. Like it's important. So I also a little concerned about sort of what we've seen a bit is commoditization of learning experiences, where organizations are saying, how many students can I give a learning experience for $100? And it's often, that's why it's sort of related to money, because it's like, I think we've forgotten sometimes in our goal to have wide reach of these learning experience programs that they need to be quality. and it costs money to have quality programs. It simply costs money. So I am a bit concerned about that whole commoditization of learning experiences. Um, and then the last one really is my whole thing it's been a hot topic recently, but it's been a hot topic in our lab really since we started, and that's international students. So we have these amazing international students from all over the place, and our lab is always filled with them for some reason. Um, but they're excluded from a bunch of programs in our country, and I think that it's harmful, like even to our country's goals and aspirations, because um, I think one of the things is like there's a bunch of internship programs that only domestic students can take, and it's a fairly large number of programs because the federal funding feeds into a bunch of different programs, but they all sort of retain that, international students wouldn't be eligible for those type of internships. And those types of internships are often the experience that transitions students from school to work. So if we don't provide those opportunities to this group, who's many of whom are intend to stay here, that's their goal, we're slowing their progress in integrating into our communities. So like I bring it up every time I see anyone from certain areas, and I always, remind them, just it's an easy fix. There's literally just cross one line out that says exclude international students. Like it's not a big policy fix, but it's would have a big impact if we start removing it. In terms of getting those folks opportunities and more opportunities to contribute to our great nation. Like,
Exactly. I think there's definitely some bias there, and maybe, a harsh reality of certain people, in the sense of a changing of environment, a changing of, landscape. But I think we all need to remind ourselves that we're all immigrants at one point. So,
yeah,
the biasness to it is kind of, not correct. But it's a fight
no,
that I hope you will win.
yeah. Well, we certainly bring it up a lot, and we do see shifting attitudes in some areas. Um, but again, I think there's like it's largely misunderstood. Um, I think people don't understand how it all works, and so
Right.
it becomes like um, just embedded. So more and more of those things we can remove, the better off we'll all be.
That's it. That's it. Amazing. So, if what key priorities are you working on now? I know you're mentioning something about slice. Is it
Slide.
slide? Sorry.
So, yeah. So we have a whole bunch of acronyms in our lab, but we have SLIDE, and that's really a program that provides digital technology support to community organizations and charities and nonprofits. Um, we also have a new focus called Spend, which is really focused on social finance and how we might begin to better educate people around social finance, because we're surprised. We know a bit about social finance, but we're always surprised that many people don't know much about it. And there are important people who need to know about it, especially now with Canada's new social finance fund. Um, and we think there's a lot of opportunities for, institutions, including educational institutions, to align their values with their investments. Um, and I think there's a really big opportunity in this. But what we've learned over the last year in doing the project is it's an education problem. We need to communicate what social finance is to people, because many don't know, and they don't understand the instruments. Like there's a bunch of different instruments, and pretty awesome instruments, quite frankly, for someone like me. But so I think we'll do a lot of work on that, educating people about the social finance opportunities, but also community building um, through the like sustainable development goals. Like our lab was built on sustainable development goals. That was the foundation. Our students pick which goals that they're intrigued about and focus on, and all of our work is really targeted towards those. And one specific area that we just began to do some work in that we hope will find its way um, is around this group of folks who are not employed and they're not in education or training. There's a classification in the SDGs called NEAT, not in education or training. And there's a lot of information about and a lot of really good data about approaches to address it. Unfortunately, we haven't really done that a lot. And it's still Canada, it's one of our worst key metrics that we've committed to. It's like we're doing terrible. There's lots of room. And I just think it's so important because if you have this large, and it's like 14 or 15% right now, if you have this large group of the population who aren't engaged, essentially, that's not good for a nation. We need to get it. Our target is 8. So there's a long way to go. And I think it's again, we pick a lot of different ones that are challenges that are somewhat hard because in that challenge, I'll say a lot of government folk say that we're doing well. And it's like if you dig deep into it, we're not doing well. It's actually not, we're not doing well at all. There's good examples and approaches from other jurisdictions that may be suitable. So our goal is to hope to launch a project in the fall with one of our local community organizations that do amazing work in a very specific community to begin to study new methods for engaging folks to get them either back into education or into employment or some form of training, because we think it's important to our future.
Absolutely. I love that spend. Tapping into social finance. It's so, so important, you know. Um, that is one of the key education pieces I was missing in our time, you know, not being taught in the school system. But now to see it, even if it's in a program connected to a school, it's still a bonus, you know, so that's great. And okay, so how do you feel about the future of social impact in Canada?
Uh, I like to say I feel hopeful and optimistic, but I still think there's a lot of work to do. Um, I'm hopeful and optimistic. I do see positive changes in different areas. But I do really feel that one of the areas that I think more of us need to engage in is policy. Um, because I'll say some of the policy fixes are not actual fixes. Um, and so I do think like I'm hopeful and optimistic. I do see progress. Um, I'm older, so I see progress over a long period of time, and I do see lots of progress in our world, but we got stuff to do.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of work that still needs to be done, but I always say that we're the ones that lay the foundation. You know, it's really the next generation. So we lay the foundation, we inspire, you know, and then we pass it on for them to really manifest a lot of the ideas, and you know, just to get the building blocks in order. So definitely a lot of work needs to be done. But me myself, I say that too. I still keep the rose colored glasses on in that aspect, right? So okay, so what's your ultimate goal and what does success look like to you?
You know, I always sort of boil it right down in our lab to I want to put money in the pockets of students while they're engaged in our community and serving the community. So I sort of like that's the ultimate goal and like and I accomplished that. Like I feed lots of money. I had hundreds and hundreds of students come through the lab and we put money in their pockets and I like for them to serve the community. So like to me, it's just it has all the right pieces. The community gets served, the students have this amazing experience that may change their lives. It will certainly make them, I think, better humans over their entire lives. Um, and it also advances their careers that they're training for. Because the thing that sort of started it all with the lab was that so many of our students are working like they work at Walmart, and that's great. I prefer to have a computer programmer work in my lab doing stuff for the community than work at Walmart. So it's really about putting students in their trained areas to do stuff for the community. So like I think there's so many benefits. I haven't quite figured out how to make it all uh, self-sustaining. Um, it's the magic trick that's still missing. So
Oh, well, definitely. You have the vision, and we know everything starts from here and it manifests like, they say it permeates throughout the universe. So, you keep putting it out there, keep showing the reason why and the benefits. And like, it's like, waste of energy, waste of talent. Not saying that they don't need to earn an income, but if you can find a way that you're serving uh, the social purpose of it all and also, sustaining a better lifestyle for this person and have that person fulfill their own passion, their own purpose. It's you're I think you're hitting a lot of those SDG goals there.
it sure feels like it. It feels right. So I think
Mhm.
that probably matters. Um,
Right. Yeah. Well, you know what? This has been an awesome interview. I really appreciate your time today. My last question for you is, do you have any closing thoughts or calls to action at this time?
I one of the things I study is this thing called student agency. And it's about how, and we did, I fear that we don't talk enough about it, but it's like, how do we put our students into the world and the responsibilities of the world? Um, and if anything I've learned, it's sort of my call to action is like hire them. First of all, hire them, let them into your organizations, but let them do what they can do. I think far too often we see that we put limits on them. Um, and so what we've learned in the lab is just put them in the right place with the right people and then let them do it. Um, don't manage it all because it really is they're different generations. They work in different ways. And they have so much talent and ability, but sometimes I think we put it in a box and it doesn't shine through. So uh, I always say let them free. Let them free to do what they can do because they truly are awesome people. And we just have to let them shine.
That's right. Let them shine. That is a perfect ending to this interview. Kevin, this has been remarkable. We really appreciate all that you do. We wish you nothing but ultimate success. All the goals that you want to reach, may you reach them. And again, we thank you for your remarkable leadership today.
Thank you. Have a
All
wonderful
right.
day, my friend.
You're welcome. So we will close the way that we began by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands that we are on. We acknowledge our ancestors. We acknowledge all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all the elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, learn for our collective liberation and sovereignty. Thanks, Kevin. Have a wonderful day.
Bye now.
All right, bye bye.